Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural Podriplegics podcast. This is the first one we are doing. I am Shawn Dallas Hall. I will be your host. I will be your resident extraordinaire for the evening. With me are two fabulous individuals, also disabled in chairs, that have tons of experience about what's going on here in the disabled world. We also have Nina with us. Nina will be bringing us questions. What a great show we have for you in store today. Today, I got with me Mr. Eric Kenning. Hi, Mr. Eric Kenning.
Hey, everyone.
And Mr. Don Price.
Hello. How you doing?
And today, what we're going to be doing is be talking about disabilities, man. Everything disabilities. If you got a disability, this show is for you. Please hit subscribe. Please hit add. Please comment. Please like. Do all that good stuff. That helps us. That helps us help you. So, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to run right into the local news segment. The local news segment is for us here in Arizona. If you have anything local from your area you want to send in, send it to us, please, on Facebook, on our podcast forums, on any of those things, YouTube, all that stuff. Mr. Eric Kenning, take us away with the local news.
Well, okay, so I'm just going to go over a couple different activities that we have going on. One is Exploring Arizona Adaptive Hiking Series. Saturday, February 29th, from 8 to 5, we'll be working through the Bell Rock Loop Trail in Sedona. The cost is $10 per person, and that includes one companion. If you do need transportation, please let us know. We'll be starting out at Ability 360. Now, these are for people who are in Arizona. Each additional person will be $15. You want to bring a lunch, water, sun protection, and registration is actually you want to go to www.cognitoforms.com/ability360/ Exploring Arizona Adaptive Hiking Series.
Is that posted anywhere, by the way? Because that's way too tough to remember.
I know. So, you know what? You can always call with any questions at 480-935-3455.
480-935-3466.
Sorry about that.
Wow, that was
Eric, I don't mean to
completely separate number.
Step on here, but you forgot to mention that they're going to be including some terrain hoppers on the hike.
Oh, wait. Terrain hoppers.
Terrain hoppers.
So tell us what terrain hoppers are, because I know what terrain hoppers are.
They are the coolest things ever. They're four-wheel drive, electric. Like, I don't know. They're kind of a cross between an off-road vehicle and a power chair. And you can drive them with hand controls or a joystick. And, you know, they'll get out and they'll get over the terrain. Hence the name terrain hoppers.
I've heard very good things. I have an action track chair myself. It's a little bit different than that. It's actually a chair set up with the tank treads. This one's got the four wheels. It runs kind of like a four-wheeler. Very nice. I hear they go over everything that you need to go through when you're here, at least in this sunny, beautiful state of Arizona with all the dry and dirt and rocks and cactus and hills. I hear they go pretty well over there. So if you really want to try something like that out, you want to do something, Eric, where do we go again one more time? Give him the phone number. Give him something. That was way too long. Don't give me that bullshit.
All right. I'm just going to give you the phone number, okay? 480-935-3466.
All right. If you're locally, you can also stop up at any time to the Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association. We are brought to you by them. They do sponsor us. They give us this fine room, provided us with this fine equipment, and gave us the opportunity to talk to all of you guys. Anytime you can get a hold of Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association, somebody, could be even Eric. You know what? Fanboy, fangirl it out. Maybe call up and say, is Eric there? Oh, you might even get to talk to him.
He is a pretty handsome devil.
Woo-wee. You might even get to talk to Eric a little bit. That'd be fantastic, I tell you what.
I think he's turning red, except he's got a beard.
Look, he
can't
even talk. He can't hit one of the buttons at least. Hit one of the buttons at least. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Eric, you can talk to Eric. Maybe talk to somebody else. I think it'd be great if for anybody who needs to get out in the wilderness, go out and do something awesome times. They put on good stuff, right? You've been there, Don. Eric, you've been there.
It's a lot of fun.
They put on awesome programs. If you want to get somebody out or get a family member or a loved one out, holler at Eric, I guess.
Turn off the TV, put down the video game.
Depending
get out
on what
actually,
you're playing, unless you want to get messed up in some Fortnite, I'll slap you in that game real quick.
No thanks. I'd rather be outside.
I know you would, my fisherman,
all right.
my angler.
That's right. Yep,
You're the angler. From now on, you're the angle. You're the I'm gonna start calling you the angle. So, Don, we do have a topic for the day. This is kind of how the show is going to go. I know this is the first show, so what we're going to do is we're kind of going to run little 15-minute things. The first segment is going to be local news, news throughout the country. If you guys want to send us stuff, right now we're just going to use local stuff until you guys send us stuff. You can send us from anywhere. We'll try to get it on here for everybody who listens. Maybe they can get out and do something like the train hopper in another state or another area. Would be awesome. Second one, we're going to talk about a topic, and today our topic is.
Well, I thought we could talk about some of the misconceptions people that are able-bodied have about us, people with disabilities. And I mean, that's a pretty broad topic, but
so maybe give us a little bit of an example of what you're talking about, so that way people who don't understand or know what you're saying, go ahead and give us a little.
Well, I mean, let's jump right into it. I think one of the first things that's a misconception is that people with disabilities are asexual, that we don't date, we don't have sex, we don't have a libido, nothing works, all those things. You can't have kids. So many of those, or all of those, really are misconceptions.
That is one of the major misconceptions, and the number one question that I get all throughout my day, throughout my life, from anybody that I talk to.
Right.
Even the 78-year-old lady at the deli, at the grocery store, while I'm waiting to order some cut up salami, whispers in my ear, "Hey, does it still work?"
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Well, you think everybody wonders, probably everybody wonders. Most people aren't going to ask you, but, most people are probably thinking of it in some way. The back of their mind is curious. But, so yeah, that is probably the first one that came to my mind when I was thinking about this topic.
Another one that we kind of brought up, that you brought up, and I think that we should touch on too, and unless you want to go deeper into the sexual one. I know we could do that for a long time, and I know we had a ton of people ask about it. I mean, I personally think that's a whole show in itself.
Sexuality has to be maybe even 2 shows.
I mean, that's big.
That's a huge thing.
That's a big thing.
Yep.
I mean, we can touch on it for a few minutes if you'd like to. I mean, I don't know if you want to start. I'll start. I mean, however you want to do it.
Well, I'll just say that becoming disabled does not affect your sexual being in any way, really.
It can't affect your sexual organs.
It can, yes, absolutely.
Yes, but it does not affect you in the fact that you want to be a sexual being. You want to have sex. You have desires, right?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't change that psychology in us, and it can frustrate you at first until you figure out how to meet those needs. But we're all intimate creatures, and I've known people with all sorts of disabilities, and every single one of them was a sexual being in some way or another.
I mean, I think as humans, that's just how we're wired, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sexuality is really the nature of our being. And so just to say that my spinal cord was severed to take the nature of my being away, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Now, I may experience sex differently than you. I may do or go about sex differently than you, or my organs may work differently than yours. Right? I mean, I think out of all three of us in the room, we could all probably say that to each other. Mm-hmm. Right? Not even just everybody everybody who's disabled, but I mean, we can all say that to each other. And there's a lot of things that go into it that could change the way you feel about it or think about it. But I will tell you right now, do not be ashamed of being sexually active. Do not be ashamed of having sexual thoughts. Do not be ashamed of expressing your sexuality as somebody who's disabled.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to the fact I know a couple guys, and they're very sexual. I mean, They were playboys. I mean, they would go around. Serious, they are players, man. There's some people that really are, And so I mean, it's the whole spectrum of sexuality. Doesn't go away when having a disability. So, if anything, it just makes things more interesting.
Well, look, I'm sitting here right now with a married man, right, Mr. Eric Kenning. Sorry, ladies, I apologize in advance.
Off the market.
Yep.
Where's
a
the
married
trombone?
Man. I don't know what they're. I don't.
He's taking.
They could be swingers. I don't know. Hit the laugh button on that one.
Actually, I like that one better.
It could be swingers. I don't know. That's not for me to talk about. But what I will say is Eric's a married man, and I'm sitting here with another man who has a girlfriend.
At
the period.
I'm in a relationship,
right?
Yep.
So sexuality is a big part of all of our lives. Me personally, I'm not into the whole monogamy thing at this point in my life. That's a whole. I probably could do a whole podcast on just that, but I'm not going to do that.
I'm just saying, ladies.
I'm not doing that right now. We don't need to go.
Where's the sign-up sheet?
We got a single
We don't need to go down that road.
All right, yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I think that we all have our own ways and things about going. And I think eventually we will do a show where we get really in depth at how we go about having sex with our partners or being intimate with our partners and what we use and what are these all the different things that go into it. So I think right now we don't want to go too deep into that one because I think that's a whole episode in itself.
I agree. Yeah.
I think maybe we should kind of pass over it a little bit, move on to another misconception.
So what's another one that you were going to bring up?
The one I was going to bring up is that we all want to walk again.
Yeah, or that's our main focus in life is just thinking about walking.
Right. And I've said this before. I've said this, and I'll say it again. Being disabled, to me, wouldn't be that difficult if it was just the fact that I couldn't walk. Right? I wouldn't. Okay. All right. I'm in a chair, whatever. Being disabled, to me, the hardest part about it is the other things that come along with it. It has nothing to do with walking for me, right? I mean, I'm just speaking strictly as an individual and how I feel. It has nothing to do with walking, right? I mean, sure, I'd like to get up, dribble between my legs, cross somebody over, do a spin move, and dunk in their face. Sure, that'd be awesome. But that's not. To be honest with you, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Even with dreaming, right? I know this comes up a lot too. I've had people ask me, do you dream in a chair or do you dream walking? And in the very beginning, I used to dream walking, right? But it's been years. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many years it's been since. In all my dreams, I'm now in a chair. It's just who I am. It's my life. I've adapted, and we're good, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
See, now I have a lot of floating dreams. Floating, flying dreams.
I have those.
Oh, I get those too.
Yeah, I have a lot of
Or
those.
sometimes if I'm walking, I realize that I need my chair close to me or I have a limp or something like that. But I'm aware that I'm not supposed to be walking.
So what's your take on exoskeletons, people pushing all these things into it has to be upright maneuverability walking? What are your thoughts on that?
The exoskeleton, I suppose it's good for a few things. It's probably good for your range of motion and your bone density, maintaining that. But it's not walking, and it's actually less convenient than just getting in a wheelchair and scooting on down the road. There's...
Yeah, you got to strap yourself
in.
You
have to strap yourself in. It takes some time. It's a lot of work, and you're... At least at this point, I don't think you have all that great of control over it. It's still in the infancy technology, but it seems to me a wheelchair is just already perfected. Why mess with something that works?
Go ahead.
Reinventing the wheel.
Go ahead, Eric.
I think one of the reasons why the standing wheelchairs came about actually was I think there was a surgeon.
We're not talking about standing wheelchairs. We're talking about exoskeletons.
Oh, the exoskeletons.
So the ones
Got
for
it.
guys like you, not for guys like us, because we
got it.
don't have the
Yeah.
option to those.
Yeah, I don't.
For guys like you who can strap on a little exoskeleton and then trounce around at 0.8 mile an hour.
It doesn't appeal to me. I used to be on half canes, and I can tell you that my social life went up tremendously when I moved to a wheelchair. It was just so much easier for me. I could relax. I could just be myself. So exoskeleton for me is not even a question. For me personally, I would not even move to it. But then again, my situation's different because I was born with my disability.
Sure. And I'll tell you something. Don said the word for me earlier, and it's convenience. Everything in my life at this point is based on convenience because I have so many other things that I have going on with 2-hour bowel programs and work and getting from here to there and driving from here to there and nursing and changing aides and changing schedules and it's just this clusterfuck of so many different things, right? The last thing I want to do is take 45 minutes to put my pants on, right? The last thing I want to do is take an hour and a half to strap into an exoskeleton, right? Just so I can slowly trounce my way into the room, and I'm just it doesn't make any sense to me. It's the same reason I moved from a manual chair to a power chair, right?
Yeah.
And I get looked at all the time by people, by guys, and push chairs, right? That because I have good arm movement. Why aren't you in a push? What are you not? Why would I be? Why would I want to sit there and push myself from one? I get 10 feet, I'm tired. Now I don't even want to do what I was supposed to be doing when I wanted to go do what I was doing.
Well, that's a huge part of it, too, is we only have so much energy. So you have to pick and choose your battles, you know. Do you want to be in a manual chair but then just be beat at the end of the day, or do you want to have that, maintain your energy, you know, conserve your energy for other things? So it's a choice. I know people
It's convenience.
I know that people have gone both ways.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, personal preference, but I totally get why.
I know
you
guys
use a power chair.
that spend 4 hours a day working out, doing stretches, doing the standing table, doing all that stuff, just in hopes, right? And look, God bless them. You know what I mean? Or Allah bless them, or whoever your deity is. I don't know. You know, bless them.
Yeah.
You know, good for them. If that's what gets them up in the morning, gets them motivated to get dressed, gets them motivated to get out of the house, gets them motivated to go do something and feel like they accomplished a goal in their day, who am I to tell them it's wrong? I can't do it, right? I can't be me, right? But it's just not my priority. It's not my convenience, right? And it's the same thing I feel like with a lot of things in this world or in the disability world. Self-calves, right? I could probably self-calf. Probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've tried. I've done. You know, it took me about 35 minutes to do it. So if I got to take 35 minutes to do it, and then I got to pee again in another 2 hours, wait a second.
Yeah.
So now I'm spending an hour to not pee for 2 hours. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, for me, it just doesn't make sense. So then you do the math and look, and
Again, it's priorities.
Yeah,
Figuring
you're talking
out what,
about 3 people who have successful other careers and life, to where, you know, we just don't have time to burn like that, you know. But
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that's a big misconception. I think people would be surprised at how many people maybe hold on a glimmer of hope, right? That someday that stem cell research will come through and you'll be able to just shoot it in your neck and do your rehab for however long, But look, our muscles have been atrophied for so long.
Yeah.
But whatever. Maybe you'd be able to do take some steroids, get all jacked up on some of that horse shit that they use in Russia for the Olympics, right?
Well,
Get all jacked up on some of that.
I
Maybe
still
you'll
have
walk
hope.
again.
I still have hope for a
Sure.
cure. Probably not for myself. I'm 37 years with a spinal cord injury. I have a feeling if they connected my spinal cord tomorrow, I'd be in a whole different world of hurt. And not to mention, I don't think, like you said, my legs would be able to support me anymore. But for somebody that's a new injury, heck yeah, or within the last 5
for
to
sure.
10 years, yeah,
That's
I'm
a
still
young
hopeful.
man's game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
It
I would
truly
never
is.
take somebody's hope away
Young
from
man's
them.
game.
Definitely keep the hope alive. But in the meantime, I'm like you. Live your life. Don't spend your whole day pumping iron in that hope. Because you're gonna.
That's what you want to do, though.
5 years, 10 years down the road, you're gonna look back and say, "What?"
But if that's what you want to do, if that's what makes you happy, right? I
Right.
mean, then
You're
that's-
absolutely right.
Yeah, then
if
do
that's
it,
what gets you
right?
up, sure.
I mean, because I think the most simplest way that I can put it for me, right? I mean, for me and my journey throughout these 19 years of being in a chair, I think the simplest way I can put it is that I've tried so many different things, and the only way that I can truly be happy is if I'm doing things on my own agenda, and I'm doing things that excite me. I'm doing things that make me feel accomplished, and those are all personal things, right? Those aren't things that I can say, hey, new guy just got injured in a chair. Hey, John, right? All right, here's what you need to do. You need to go out and start studying MMA and be a judge, right? Go F yourself. I don't even know what MMA is, right? Who cares? But It's all personal. It's a very personal journey that you're on. And throughout that journey, I think that you need to make sure that you're being true to yourself and being true to what's inside yourself, and just do it, man. Just try it, because limits and boundaries are meant to be broken. I mean, God damn it, we've seen it, right? We've seen it so many times. We've seen guys doing flips in chairs. We've seen guys doing the craziest things you've ever seen in chairs, right? Skydiving in
absolutely.
chairs. I mean, all kinds of different stuff. So,
Parasailing.
I mean, there's so many things you can do. So I feel like for my answer for that one, simply just, if that's what makes you wake up in the morning, fire up
Go for
chips.
it.
Let's go,
Let's
right?
do it.
Let's get it. I mean, dude, there's places to go for it, right? I mean, you can go down to Florida. There's some place in Florida that does man. Maybe we could. This is something maybe we can do later too. Is when we talk about something on our thing, we can maybe post what we were talking about. Maybe the places you can go. There's a place in Florida that's awesome. That's all they do is take new people in chairs, and they try to rehabilitate their spinal cord as much as they can and make them. There's so many places. There's all the Mayo clinics. There's all these different places
Craig
that do these.
Hospital.
Craig. There's all these places that do that stuff, right? I mean, you could get into that if you want. If that's the avenue you want to go. But that just wasn't the avenue that I went on. And I don't think it was the avenue that you went on either, Don. Right?
No, I've always been busy. I've always wanted to stay active and not sit at home and just try everything I can. So, I don't sit around worrying about my legs either. I got in my chair and went and did as much as I could.
Look, and I'll tell you what, I was at the bar the other night. To be honest with you, I was at the club the other night, and I'm the only guy in a chair. The whole place lights up, right? I mean, it's about how you look at it, right? I mean, because
It's
you
what
could
you're
easily,
putting out.
You could easily say, "Oh, I don't want to go there. Oh, everybody's there. Oh, no, everybody's looking at me. Oh, let me cower in the." No, man, eat that shit up, Pac-Man style. Miss Pac-Man that. Get after it.
Absolutely. Hey, have you done the indoor parachuting yet?
The indoor
Oh, the,
skydiving?
yeah,
over
skydiving.
at- no,
I
haven't.
think it's called.
iFly, yeah. It's called
iFly,
iFly.
yeah.
Because I think they offer that.
That's here in Phoenix, by the way, for other people who
Yeah.
are listening.
Yeah,
in other
because
places.
There's a number of them around the country,
Numerous,
though.
yeah.
And they do have a disability night or special needs night, whatever they call it.
When's that?
They do it
we'll
like
get you. We'll
once-
get you know it. I bet you'll know, right?
quarterly. I think they do it every couple months.
Well, we make sure we put that on here because we need to let our viewers know, our listeners on that one, because I know I want to go. I'll meet them there.
And if you do have any questions about any part of the show, you can always look at our website at azspinal.org, and there are phone numbers right at the bottom. So go ahead and just go to the website if you want more information. We're gonna work on posting these podcasts on there as well.
Yeah, we're hopefully gonna be getting these up. Hopefully we're gonna be moving to video stuff and doing all that stuff soon too. We're starting somewhere. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? You got any other ones you want to talk about?
Well, for one thing, I've noticed that people are unsure. Able-bodied people are unsure of us, people in chairs or people with disabilities, and they assume that we can't talk or we can't order for ourselves at restaurants, or we don't know what we want. Have you had that experience as well? I mean, I've been at restaurants with my girlfriend.
I don't have that experience.
No?
No.
Well, nobody's ever said.
If you can't tell by my personality, motherfuckers, shit goes down. All right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Again, I cussed
too.
twice in a row.
I think you have to
sorry.
break the ice, though, first.
Always. I always do.
Yeah, right.
I mean, because I got used to it, right? But it took time. You're
So,
right.
Yeah, so people see you, they don't know how to react. They don't know
They
to
want
look.
to help you.
They don't know where to look at you. Then they look away because they don't want to stare, and then they realize they're looking away, so then they have to look, and it's a kind of, you can see this dance going on in their head.
It sounds like church, to tell you the truth.
I have a trick. I have a little trick.
Oh,
that
that should be good.
It's not actually that good, to be honest with you. It's just a silly, dumb trick. But when I look and I notice somebody looking at me, okay, the first time I don't pay attention, right? But if I see the same person doing it again, I smile and I wink at them. Directly in their face. Directly in their eyes.
Yep.
I give them a wink and give them a smile and go, hi, and wave at them, right? So now they understand that they're doing, okay, whatever. I'm not, I'm there. I'm all there. Everything's good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need your help. I don't need you to, if you want to keep looking and you want, come say something. Come say hi, right?
That explains why you keep winking at me.
I was wondering if that was like something.
Don, you got to start saying something, bro.
Well, I wasn't sure about it.
Hey, now.
Not sure if you can talk.
Hey, now.
You look a little weird.
But no, I think for other people with disabilities, like different disabilities than I have. Again,
Sure.
like I only speak from my experience, and again, Don speaks from his experience, and Eric speaks from his experience. So.
Yep. By the way, my mic was a little low, so here we go. A little higher, you can hear me now. So,
Nothing.
anyways, it's all
You
good.
had nothing to contribute to that.
Nope.
Other than my mic was low.
Yep, my mic was low.
Goodness gracious! Hit the. Where's the blah blah rim shot? Bing bong. Yeah, give yourself one of those. Sample
Sad
that.
trombone.
You know what? I can
Sample that.
I can actually tell you there was a moment when I was going out for my first communion in church, and everyone was looking at me. And
How old were you?
oh my God, I was maybe 10, 11, 12, something like that. And that's when I first noticed that people were looking at me differently. So it was a very interesting experience. And after that, I really became aware of it, but also I became a little more numb to it in that I just did my thing, and people were just going to look. That's all there was to it. Especially as I got a little older and when I got into college. I just was like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
And did you feel good about it? I mean, do you feel good about it now? I mean,
I used to
was
go.
it something you learned from?
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to dance clubs all the time. In fact, I would dance in my wheelchair, and I would like open up the dance floor, and I would get things rocking and rolling, and I'd approach all these
The
people.
king of that. You ready for that?
Yeah.
You ready for a night of that?
Oh, are we
Are
gonna
you
get it
ready
down?
for a night? I just got down on Friday.
Oh,
I was
You doing dance party tonight?
I got videos.
I'll show you some breakdancing if I have to. I mean,
You don't
geez.
want to get down with these here. You don't want to get. If we
Do
had
some-
video in here, you guys
do
would
some
see my
pop
sweet
and
dance
lock.
moves. You see my sweet pop and lock.
Wow,
moves.
that's some old school moves you got
Yeah.
there.
Domio Regato,
Yeah.
Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, for sure. No, but I love it too, right?
Yeah.
I learned really quickly to absorb that energy,
Yep.
right? To absorb the eyes, to absorb the energy, to make it yours, to make it your stage, to make life all about you at that point. Because if people are staring at you like that, it is all about you.
And that's about
So
claiming
you might
yourself.
as well make it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I think you should.
Well, that's
So-
something that, let's face it, that's something you have to get used to. If
Oh,
you
for
have a sudden onset of a disability, spinal cord injury or something, suddenly you're thrust into the world whether you want it or not. The stares,
Yep,
the
that's true.
looks, the uncertainty. So I'm glad you found a way to embrace it, but that does take some getting used to, right?
It does. It
And,
really does. You know, I think that me and you have had this conversation off air, and I think us too. You know, one of the first things that terrified me the most when I got in my chair is, you know, I had a girlfriend when I got in my accident, right? And so she was like, "Come on, let's go out. Like, let's go see people. Like, everybody wants to see you, man. They haven't seen you in forever." And I just couldn't get myself to go into public places because every time I did, it was brutal, right? It was just everybody staring at me. I felt awkward. I didn't know what to do. But after a few times, just like anything, right? Just like anything, just like learning to play the guitar, just like learning to do anything, learning to speak in public, learning to do any of that stuff. It just takes time. It just takes a few efforts, right? It takes some time and effort. She coached me through it. She helped me through it. Next thing you know, I'm at the bar 4 nights a week. I mean,
You are embracing
right?
it,
I mean,
definitely.
that's
Holy
just what
cow.
you do, right? I mean, you know,
Tear off
so-
the Band-Aid. Why
Yeah,
don't
that
you?
was
There you
when I was young. I'm not young anymore. I can't do 4 nights a week anymore. But yeah.
3.
So, but I mean, sometimes if I do 3 nights in 1 week, I gotta take 2 weeks off because my hangovers aren't the same anymore.
Oh, just preach that one.
Not the same anymore. Since I've been in a chair, it's just not the same hangover anymore.
Well, some of
It's
it's age,
way more
man.
brutal.
Some of it's age.
Oh, sure. But even from the look, we can talk about get into a hangover. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a chair, it's brutal because especially Don, do you have a suprapubic catheter?
I do.
As of somebody who has a suprapubic catheter, you literally cannot drink enough water to be as hydrated as you should be. You just can't do it. I mean, I've tried. I've tried the recommended, right, and then the highest amount, like 2 gallons. How do you drink 2 gallons of water a day?
You can't.
You can't do it.
Nope.
You can't do it, right? So then you go out drinking one night, right? You're not drinking any water. You're drinking booze. Next thing, you got 2 or 3 days. It takes you time to catch back up, get back up to the rehydration, all that stuff.
It's the same for me too, and I don't have a super pubic, but my kidneys are definitely weaker.
Right. Well, I mean, you do got weak kidneys, that's for sure.
I can tell just by looking at you.
Oh my god!
Man.
All right, so hey,
All right. We
we
covered
got to
that?
move on. We're
Yeah.
going to move on to our questions. We're going to bring in our resident #1 fan, our first ever groupie, Miss Nina.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Nina's got questions. These were taken off of Facebook, peer disability group. So fire away at us, Nina.
All right. Our first question tonight is, how do you deal with the crowd when in an electric chair? This is from Kathy Silverman Foster.
Wow. Well, that's a good question. My first comment is whenever
This
I
is
hear
Don, by the way.
Yes, this is Don.
Thank you.
Whenever I hear the term electric chair, it has a whole different meaning to me. It's like something out of the Green Mile.
Right.
So
I wish I had the electric
Yeah.
sound.
Yes.
Right now.
It's called a power chair, by
Old
the way.
Smoky, yeah. Well, let's call it a power chair.
Yeah.
I do use a power chair. I will be experiencing this very thing this weekend when I'm going to the Phoenix Waste Management Open. In the course of 4 days, they almost have 1 million people. So what do I do is, I don't try to run them over like Shawn maybe.
Well,
Is it-
I give warning. I give fair warning.
Yeah.
warning. I feel like if I yell as loud as I can 2 to 3 times, excuse me, and you don't move, you're fair game, bro. I'm
Well,
fucking you up.
Good luck in a crowd with,
I don't
with your
care.
quad voice
Right,
getting
with
heard.
my quad. But look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to tap you. I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to be
Right.
to be cordial about the
No,
whole
I
situation.
agree with
but-
that.
If I can't do it, I gotta go.
If you have a friend that can lead the way, that's always helpful, right?
Oh, come on.
So I'm a lead blocker.
I'll tell you, I've had this. I hate to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I've had this happen, and I tried this whole situation of somebody leading me, right? And if it's not somebody who works for the actual place that you're at, right? Fights ensue. Things happen where people are not happy about it. Like that person is like, hey, move.
Well,
and now that person gets put in a situation where they need to be like, oh, okay, what do I do?
I think what usually happens with my friends is they tap on somebody's shoulder and they kind of get a rough look, and then they just point at me, and then they realize, hey, you know, they're tapping, they're trying to move me because there's a wheelchair coming through, and then they cool off. But yeah, there is that initial reaction like, hey, buddy.
So you hang out with nice people.
Well, not
you
necessarily.
Hang out with, like,
maybe
civilized, nice individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
my friends don't do that.
See, no, it's the opposite for me. When we're going through a crowd, my wife, she follows me. Like, Like I blaze the trail. I blaze the trail. And, you know, I'm not in a power chair, though. I'm in a manual chair. But even so, I mean, I'm even shorter.
But you're close in a manual chair. You're close enough to where if I'm next to you, like I can grab you or touch you or reach you, right?
Yep.
So like in a power chair, right? My feet stick out so far sometimes. If somebody's in front of me, I can't.
You can't even tap
There's
them,
nothing I could do.
Yeah.
Like, even if I'm sitting straight up, I can't reach out to you other than throwing my drink at the dude, and then that's a whole other situation. I've tried that.
How about throwing your dog at the dude?
Yeah, get your dog to bark.
Hey now.
Do you guys figure, like, over the years you have this, like, sense of where people are going to move or where they're going to stop? You've developed this kind of...
So good at it,
Yeah.
right? So when you're at sporting events, this is my favorite thing to do. At sporting events, when everybody's leaving, right? When it's just insane,
Everybody,
right?
Yeah.
It's insane
Wanna
up
get
there.
out, yep.
I say, follow me. And you're so good. You're so
You form
used
a conga
to
line?
moving. No, I do. You're so used to using your chair, right? You're so used to it that you can slow down and whoop, hit a gap, right? And bang.
Yeah.
Once you hit the gap, everybody stops, and then these 5 people sneak in, and then you go through, and then you boom, hit a gap, and then you got 5 people. And so, I mean, long story short, I guess, be kind if you can, right? I mean, I think be kind if you can. Tap them, excuse me, ask them if you can move. Or if you're at a bar or a club, right? This is what I do now. If I'm at a bar or a club, because I don't want the people that I'm with to be put in a bad situation. I ask the bouncers, hey, excuse me, bouncers, flashlight me through, right? I also have headlights on my chair, which also works, right? In many situations in dark, if you turn the headlights on your chair, everybody looks. So then now you can move freely as you go.
That's a great idea.
A lot of times I'll slap people on the knee or just barely tap them and be like, hey,
in a loud club or something, they won't hear you. So you have to kind of tap or kind of feel your way through.
Don't dick punch, though.
Yeah, well, plus you're going to get...
It's easy to do
your
on
face
accident.
is going to be at ass level the whole time.
It's
so
easy
that's
to do on
not
accident.
necessarily fun, right?
Yeah. Don't do that.
I've run over heels accidentally too.
Fuck feet up.
I've had some people just scream. I didn't do it intentionally, but when it's crowded and I'm trying to move, the heel gets caught underneath the rim of my wheels. Oh, that's brutal.
Well, here's something that you don't have to deal with because you're a manual chair, but our joysticks are live. Somebody bumps into our joystick or
you get sent across the room, don't you?
It will shoot the chair in a different direction, and that can be brutal.
I'm at a sports bar. I'm sitting at the bar, right? Having a drink like a goddamn gentleman. The gentleman I am. Sorry to say goddamn. It was bad. Again, I shouldn't have done that. Having a drink like a gentleman, right? Mm-hmm. My brother comes in. Hey, brother, how are you? Oh, my God. Hey, nice to meet you. A girl comes in that I haven't seen in a long time. She's like, oh, my God. Right? Instantly jumps on my lap, right?
Right on the
Her
joystick.
purse.
Yep.
Her purse falls off her arm, snags the chair thing. So you got to think, she's blocking the whole thing. I can't even get around to it, right? This baby's on full bore,
Straight ahead.
straight forward. and it's nothing but chairs and people.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, I'm trying to grab this girl by her fake hair. That was a shout. I should have took that shot.
Well, let's hope she's
Whatever.
not listening.
I hope she is listening because she caused me a lot of trouble. I'm trying to pull her off and grab her off, trying to throw her off my lap, and she's like, you're so funny. Right? Boom. Took out 4 whole tables and 4 whole rows of chairs. Got banned from the bar for 6 months. My brother got punched in the mouth. Right? I mean, it happened.
Yeah.
It
I
happened.
mean, that's kind of thing that happens in a crowd.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me, too. Not quite to that extreme, but pretty close.
It happens. I got other ones if you want.
Well, and
we don't need to go into them.
And
I got
the
other
girls that want to give you a big hug and lean over and,
I'm with you.
body parts hit the joystick. And
I like body parts hitting
Well,
joysticks. I like that. I like
there's
the way
something
that
to be said
sounds.
for that, but
Let's move on to the
Yeah,
next
all right,
one.
you
Next
perv.
question.
All right, moving on.
Next
moving on.
question.
This is from Brandy Carter. What type of career are there for disabled people outside of call center jobs?
This is a good question because I think that a lot of people don't understand that even though you can't physically do what maybe other people can do, right? Maybe you physically aren't as able. You're mentally capable, right? I mean, in most parts, unless you have another type of disability, it's a whole different story. But for me, what I have 4 jobs. I have 4 jobs now, counting this one. I have 4 jobs.
Is this a
now.
job?
I mean, you could consider it a job,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
No,
you
it is.
consider it something that you do, right?
Yep.
I mean, so for me, I started my own home health care company, right? I've also encouraged 4 other quads at this point in their lives to start home health care companies to take control of their life, right? Because otherwise, there's somebody sending you nurses, you don't know who they are, you don't get a chance to meet them, you don't get a chance to hire them, you don't get a chance to pay them, you don't get a chance to tell them what to do, right? I started my own home health care company a year into my accident, and it was great. I mean, being an entrepreneur is hard. It's not easy. You're not going to be able to sit at home and watch Dr. Phil all day long and then act like you're going to have a job, right? You have to work hard, you have to schedule, you have to do all the different things, bill insurances, do all these different things. But it's very well worth it. That's a job that people can do. Another job that I have is I'm a judge for mixed martial arts, right? I mean, that right there should tell you that you can do anything. Because as a person who's disabled, who can't do anything mixed martial arts wise, I'm in charge of saying who wins and loses. I mean, that should tell you right there that mind over matter is everything. It's just all about the way you think about it, all about the way you move, maneuver, the way you act, the way you can push yourself to another level, and what you really want and how determined you are in life.
Just to go off of that, I know people who have been social workers, psychologists, advocates,
Radio personalities.
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot. You know, you get into the computer world with the internet and stuff.
Oh,
they're
huge.
There is stuff out there. You have to look for it, but there are things where you could become independent contractors for like graphic arts, music, data entry. There's all kinds of things out there, and some of them you don't have to have a severe degree to do even. So there is stuff to do. It's just a matter of driving yourself to do it, really.
Yeah, and I'll jump in too.
This is Don, by the way.
Yes, I'm Don. My job at Ability...
Sample that, dude.
Sample that.
Hey, for real, sample that so that way every time he talks, you can smack that button. This is Don, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Well,
cut you off.
so my job here at Ability 360 is early intervention coordinator. So I go out and meet people that have new disabilities in rehab and get them resources and support so that they know what to do in the community or they know who to call when they have questions. And that's not a job that I had envisioned when I was 18 years old. I was going to be in forestry, and then I had my spinal cord injury, and that changed my whole life. So then it becomes, how do I use my intellectual abilities?
That's the key word.
Yeah,
right
it's
there,
all
bro.
about.
That's the word I was looking for
Yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
and I couldn't find it. And that's the key word, man. It's all about your intellectual abilities.
And one thing I would caution people is so many people think you have to jump right into your dream job, your dream career, and that's not necessarily practical. I suggest to anybody, find a way to get in the community, even if it's volunteer or, if you're just going to shadow somebody, getting out there is going to open some doors. There may be some opportunities that develop that you hadn't even thought of, and just kind of learning as you go, that's going to open some doors. So don't necessarily look for your dream job right off the bat. Just get your foot out there, foot in the door, test the water, whatever
Find it.
analogy, cliche you want to use.
Find something, and I'm going to tag on to this. Find something that really makes you feel good about what you did, right? And if you can feel good about what you did, right, then you'll want to get deeper into it. And then once you get deeper into it, then people will start to not look at you as, and I'm speaking from experience here because being in the mixed martial arts world, believe me, when I first got in there, they wanted nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
They were like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
Right? What do you know about anything? Right? And so you have to just find what you know, find what you love, and just keep banging at that door. Just keep banging at it. Right? I mean, keep banging at it, and sooner or later, you're going to be as qualified, if not more qualified, than anybody who's working in that arena.
Yeah.
So then, at that point, you can find gainful employment. You can find all these different things, and look, I know it's difficult, but without difficulty, I mean, what's worth having?
Along
that's
those
not
lines,
difficult?
if I can jump in, whatever you're doing, be the best you can at that job. If it's in a call center, be the best damn call center person there is, because somebody's
Sell
going to
that
notice
shit.
that.
Yep.
Get there early. Be the last one to leave. Hit those numbers, whatever it is, and people will notice. And you will have opportunities from that.
And look, times have changed too. Times have changed.
Technology has
People are,
even the field for a lot of us with disabilities.
I mean, technology will help you get a long ways. Not only just that, but people in this world are now more tolerant to what's happening with disabilities. They're more tolerant to be like, you know what, let's give them a shot, right?
Well,
I know that I applied for a job. I'm sorry, I didn't want to. But I know before I started doing all of this, everything that I did, as soon as I got out of college, I freaked out like everybody else in the world. And I applied for jobs at all different places, Monster.com, Google, all these different places, right? And I went on several job interviews, right? And through those several job interviews, I really learned a couple key things. One, they want to hire you. Because, let's be honest with you, legally, logistically speaking, it looks good if they hire you.
Yeah, diversity
right?
It
looks good. It looks good.
There's another
Big word.
aspect, though. Statistically, people who have disabilities tend to have better work ethics.
It looks good when they hire you, right? It's good. It's a good thing, right? But you just got to not shoot yourself in the foot. You got to not put yourself in a bad light. You got to not let them think that you're unable to do the job. Right? Don't go in there with a bad attitude. Don't go in there with an attitude like, well, I don't know, I like this job, but I don't know. What's this job entail? Or how many days do I get off a year? How many weeks do I get off a year? Do I get sick leave, or what is this going?
Well, and that's
you know what I mean?
that's
Like, go
basic
in
interview,
there.
though. That's interviewing skills too.
But I think that's a part of it.
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
a huge part. I think a huge part of what disabled people don't get in life is that training of interviewing or being with people or being in front of people or being around people or talking. There's a lot that goes into that. But I'm going to tell you chase it, man. Chase it.
Well, and I don't want to get too deep into this either.
Because we got one more question to get into.
Real quick, though, a reason a lot of people with disabilities are unemployed or don't go back to work is they're afraid of losing their benefits, whatever it is, medical
I didn't want to
care.
bring. I was going to bring
Yeah.
that up earlier.
All right, well, we're going to skip on that. There are ways around that, and we'll get into that in another
That's
show.
a show.
Yeah, that's a whole
We're gonna
show.
get to that. So,
Okay.
so anybody, I know I had got about 3 or 4 messages regarding that single issue.
Mm-hmm.
Promise you, we'll get to it. Promise you, we'll get to it. We can only do so much at once.
In
so.
fact, I have a consultant with disability benefits that we can bring in.
Perfect. Even better. So then we'll get to it, right? We'll have a whole show for you on that, and we'll try to give you all the resources you can get to and all that stuff like that. Nina.
All right,
Give
guys.
us one
Final
more.
question for the night. How do I go about traveling as a disabled person?
Oh, my God.
Samuel Aloyo.
Sammy boy, let me tell you, this is a whole nother show in itself, and I could do this show by myself for fucking 4 hours. All right, I fly everywhere. I do a lot of traveling. My chair's been broken at least 20 to 25 times throughout all of this. But I will tell you one thing. The one thing that I learned, it's all about being prepared. Okay, preparation is the key. So the first thing you need to do is understand everything that you may or may not need during your travel, okay? Because don't count on getting it somewhere, or don't count on getting it somewhere else, or, I can just go to the pharmacy, and it's not the way it goes. Take everything that you know you need, and then take something that you might need, right? Take all of that stuff. Okay, now you're talking about traveling with a chair. Okay, I don't know if you're traveling with a manual chair. I can't help you on that one. Okay, power chair. Here's what I do. Okay, I take it, go up to the gate check. Okay, I gate check my chair. I don't put it into baggage. I don't do any of that. I go up to the gate. I tell them. I say, look, here's my chair. I already have the statistics on how much it weighs, how big it is, what cabins it'll fit in on certain planes. I already know what planes I can get on and what planes I can't.
What kind of batteries it has.
What kind of batteries it has, all that stuff, all right? So when I go up there, I'm already prepared, okay? Then they take you through, then they get you up to the top, and when you get up to the top, you need to talk. And I'm telling you, this is the number one key. You need to ask the people at the gate to talk to the baggage supervisor, okay? The baggage supervisor then will come to you. And the baggage supervisor will have a conversation with you. And you will tell that baggage supervisor what to touch, what not to touch, what to do, what not to do, okay? Some people like to wrap their whole thing up, do different tape jobs with different things that say do not touch. That's fine too, right? But I feel like you can avoid all that. You can avoid doing all that hard work by just having a conversation with the baggage supervisor. The baggage supervisor will then pass it on. If he does not pass that on, okay, and your chair in turn gets messed up, you go straight down to lost baggage, damaged baggage, and they will hook you up with somebody who will help you within 24 hours. Because if they cannot help you within 24 hours, now they are subject. They're subject to disciplinary lawsuit type of situations, and they don't want that. Believe me, they will call you within 24 hours. They will get your chair fixed. It will be at zero cost of you. I know it will be at cost of your life maybe, or your day, or your week. I know they lost my chair. My first trip to Hawaii, they left it in San Francisco. They left my chair in San Francisco. I ended up in Hawaii, and they were like, oh, hey, bro. Dude, sorry.
Yeah, it messes
I'm
up
like,
your
what?
whole vacation.
So that was my first real long big trip, right? And so
Right.
I started learning real quick. There's things you got to do, and the key to it is being prepared, man. It's being prepared. It's having all your ducks in a row. So no matter when you talk to somebody, you have the answer. You know where your chair is at all times. You have somebody looking out the window. You have somebody come and tell you. So I have somebody come and tell me after I get into the in the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in the plane. I make sure, and I tell them we're not leaving until somebody comes in and tells me that my chair is safely in this plane.
Wow, that's a great idea.
That is.
And they come in, they go, hey, you're good. And I go, we're good. Let's go.
Well, and another thing to be aware of is, it's obviously going to be easier on an aisle seat. So when you book your flight,
book
aware.
front. Book
you know,
bulkhead.
You know what I've done in
Bulkhead.
the past? Well, I've booked when the bulkhead's already filled up.
Well, first class.
I always book the very last. This is a inside trick I've learned. I always book the very last row of the airplane. So they look at that and they go, "No, wait a minute, you can't be in the." Yeah, that's I know it's cheating.
Genius.
It's genius.
I'm going to tell you why that's genius, because they have to transfer you to a what they call an aisle chair, right?
Right.
And so if you're on a big plane, now they got to pull you all the way back. So here's another thing I do too, right? I always take the window seat. Always.
Same reasoning. They're going to bump you up.
One reason is because I tip. You know what I mean? I'm always tipping.
You really get in that window seat?
Yeah, I get in the window seat.
Oh my gosh!
So I tip a lot, and I don't like it, right? And I fly sometimes 8, 9 hours to different places. So I get in the window seat, and so what I do is I book the window seat, and then once I do that, and they pull me in, and they're like, "Oh my God, really?" Like, then they understand, like, it's real. Like, I tell them, this shit is real. Like, this is my life. We're doing this. Like, I'm traveling. Like, I'm not sitting here. I tip over here, right? So here's the deal. Move me from... So now you bump me from here to the middle. Now you go from the middle to the window.
Wow.
I mean, you have people that help you do that.
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to do that yourself. I mean, if you can stand up and move yourself, God bless you. But, I mean, for me, I can't do that. So I have somebody to do that, and I always book the window seat because I don't have any trunk control. So for me,
I don't either, but I've never done the window. Well,
I'm
maybe
sitting on the aisle seat,
in the bulkhead section. Yes.
I'm like, my elbow's always falling off. Always.
Yeah.
Then I'm falling over. I hate it.
Yeah. He's falling over right now, in fact.
Right.
I'm trying to show you.
He's demonstrating. Yeah.
Not
Oh,
on
yeah. I
camera.
see. Yeah. Everyone sees what you're doing
Yeah,
here.
not on camera.
You look
But
like Gumby.
but the elbow is going.
All right. Yeah, I get that.
But no, for real. I mean, I do that. I do both of those. I always book. I book. All right. Well, I usually book first class tickets, but it's just because I got a lot of miles. I fly a lot.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I use miles, and I'm first. I try to book the first classes, and I try to book the first class lay down sleepers, because those that's the way to travel for a man in a chair. I'm going to tell you, or a woman in a chair. Sorry, no, you don't need to discriminate. But a man or a woman in a chair, the way to travel is on that lay down seat, because you can change it. Just like you can your chair. You can lay it down, kick to your side, do this.
All right, side question for you. Do you use your cushion while you're traveling?
I do, 100%. But I have a separate cushion.
Same here.
I have a separate cushion.
Take a second one along. Right.
No, so my separate cushion is thinner.
Oh, all right. Yep.
So I have one of those thin cushions, right, that they use for, I don't really know exactly what they...
Just a low
profile cushion, yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
I bring that with me. Because if I'm too tall to sit on a regular cushion. In the plane chair, already it's bad enough because it comes to like
hits
it's like hitting my shoulders, the headrest.
Yep.
With that low profile,
it's very uncomfortable.
You
when
put the big profile cushion on there, my head's just.
That's what I've used
ceiling.
in the past, and it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I have a low profile one that I bring, and then if I can't, for some reason, I've lost it. I've lost that a couple times, right? And then when I lost that. What I did was I took sweatshirts, right? And I put as many T-shirts in there as I could. I took 2 of them and tied the arms, and I put as many T-shirts in there as I could. So if you can't afford a Rojo low-profile cushion, this might be a little cheap way to do it. I'd take the sweatshirt and take the arm, tie a knot, or stuff as many T-shirts in there as I can, and tie a knot at the arm. Tie a knot at the other arm, and I set that down, and then I set my cheeks on that.
That's a good idea.
I travel a lot, bro.
You know what?
And also, you know what else I do?
What do you do?
I bring a handkerchief or like a maybe like a, what do you want to call it?
Bandana, scarf kind of thing?
Scarf with me, and I put it over my face at all times.
Oh.
Because every time I fly,
Get
I don't have that, I get sick.
Yeah. I don't have
Thank
as many
you.
tips.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I'll be here. I'll be here next week. Thank you, everybody.
Tip your waiters. Tip your wait staff. I don't have as many tips as you do. I mean, that's pretty extensive. But one of the things I do is I wear a hoodie, and that way, because I'm always cold on a plane, I can flip that hood up. And also, you have the the hand pouch in front of you, that's a great place to put your wallet and your ticket. You always know where it is. It's not going to get dropped, and that works out pretty well for me.
So I'm a fanny pack guy.
Yeah.
I'm a fanny pack. I think anybody who's in a chair should be a fanny pack guy. Or a
I'm
girl.
sorry, I'm
just
not,
being
can't
honest.
Go there.
Like
can't
I'm,
go there
I'm
with
saying,
you, man.
No,
fanny
I'm
packs
sorry.
all day.
Yeah.
Dude, fanny packs, they're always strapped. They can't come off.
Well, it's the same
They're not
concept,
coming
all right?
off.
I just wear a
Same.
travel shirt, and then with zippers and stuff on it, and then
Yeah,
just
you would.
pockets.
Yeah,
That's
you
a little hard for
Well, I can
quad.
sport all the pockets. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
would. You would. You got good
So,
support
yeah.
up there. You got that big upper body.
I think
By the way, just anybody not looking or can't hear it, can't see it, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Eric's got that big upper body.
he's
That
pumped.
big, just popping upper body, like he's been doing pull-ups 700 a day in prison for like 7 years.
Well, I do live in a.
You do live in prison?
No, I live in a double-level house, and so I climb stairs with my arms 2 or 3
Shit
times a
me
day.
not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all arms. Yeah,
Impressive.
Walk up?
my arms are. Yep. I'll show you someday.
The world's a crazy place, and that's why we're doing this show, ladies and gentlemen, is because we're trying to show you that there's alternate ways to be happy, to be fantastic, to achieve your goals, achieve your dreams, and do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter if you're disabled. It doesn't matter if you're in a chair. That's no excuse to me. If you want to tell me, I can't do this, I'm in a chair, guess what I'm going to say? Don?
Can't.
No, I was
My
going to
ass.
say, go F yourself. Let's go. Let's get it fired up, right? Like, you
Yeah.
can do it,
Can't
man.
my ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Just a quick story about crawling on my hands. So at one point, I'm with my band, and we go camping.
Dude, see, look, you're already saying you're in a band. We don't even know what's going on here. What's going on with this band?
How
So-
long have we known you? And we
How
don't.
much time we got left? Because do we got time?
Yeah,
for this
no, we're
band,
pretty much-
this
we're
pretty
band
much out.
conversation?
pretty much
Thanks
out
for
of
This
an
is a
hour
great
right
one
now.
to save for another day. Because
thanks
I
for
love
letting it
band
You know what? Maybe I will.
conversations.
But it's a story of when I climbed up a mountain. So,
On your arms?
yeah, pretty much.
My God.
Dang.
Yeah.
If nobody's looking, it's straight daps.
I need a tissue.
So he left me hanging. He left
Oh,
me hanging.
I got
Oh
a
my
tear
God.
coming.
That hurt my feelings. No, fuck you.
Oh, man.
Wow, he left him hanging with the high
Left me hanging.
five.
I tried to put it out
No.
there
Do
like
some
that's my
knuckles.
guy
Do
right there.
some
Climbed
knuckles
him
and-
out with his elbows, and he
It's
looked
been a
at me
long
like,
day.
okay. Okay.
I'm not getting the subtle
We're
cues.
pushing
Sorry about
it.
that.
We're pushing it now.
Wow.
We're pushing it now. Look, I'm going to tell you, I think we've run out of time. I think for all of us here, we would love to keep going, and we could probably do this for days on end, but eventually you got to end an episode. Eventually you got to bring up new topics. Eventually you got to come back again in 2 weeks. And that's what we're going to do. Me, Don, Eric, Nina. We're going to be here. We're going to be doing our thing. We appreciate the questions, number one. And number one, first of all, you guys have never even heard the show, and you asked us questions, and that was fantastic. Thank you for that. Number two, we appreciate the Arizona Spinal Cord Institute Association.
Close.
Giving up. I fucked that up?
Yes.
Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association.
God dang. All right, whatever.
We'll
He
get it
said
eventually.
He said it, right? You need to sample that, right? When I say I want to thank, and you just hit it. You just hit
Sample
the button.
that.
He's got little buttons over there.
Catch that
Nobody
one
knows.
and
He's
paint
got
it
Come in,
green.
come in. We'll sample your voice and we'll get it all
He's
done.
got buttons over there. You could hit that button and did make.
Let me
that
see which
say
one
that.
I get.
You messed my flow up, dude. I was right in the middle of this outro, and you
yeah.
messed my whole flow up.
It was
bro.
very.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Hey, okay, bye.
You're an inspiration
Who
to me.
is?
You are.
I am.
Well, it's good to see people
Keep
like
saying,
you out.
Keep talking, Dom.
Yeah.
Keep talking. You're getting me fired up right now. Keep talking.
Yeah.
bro.
Well,
No, but for real, thank you so much for everybody for listening, right? We're going to keep trying to do this for you, but we need your support to do this. We need your questions. We need your likes. We need your shares. We need your follows. And all of it's just in the hopes that our 100 years of plus of experience might be able to change somebody's life somewhere, someday, somehow. And for that, I say keep your head up, keep living, and life is a beautiful fucking thing. Peace.